Now let's talk about scarcity and the production possibility frontier. So let's talk about scarcity first. Why does scarcity exist? Okay, because resources are limited and the wants of the people or the society is unlimited. Why do you think your wants are unlimited? Because after you get something, you want another thing. So you have your needs and you have your wants. So what's the difference between needs and want? Okay, so the needs are the things that you cannot live without, and the wants are the things that you can live without. But the question is, what is your need, for example? Yeah, food. But what kind of food do you want to eat? Your need is shelter. But what kind of house do you want to build? You want to live in? Your need is clothing. But what kind of clothes do you want to wear? Right? So, if you look at the questions, wants, most often than not, represent your needs. Because you cannot just simply tell me, oh yeah, your need is food, but you will have to eat pork every now and then. Right? You have to choose something. So that's why your want represents your needs. So wants are the representations of your needs. Now, going back to my question, why is there scarcity in our society? Yeah, because there is demand of the people. Okay? But before we look at that, before we look at demand, let's try to look at scarcity first. And how does scarcity relate with the production possibility frontier? Let's look at our government. Assuming that the government has two options in production: guns and butter. So guns and butter actually represents this represent the analogy of whether the government will produce more of defense, will it spend more budget in the defense, or will the government spend more on butters, which is the welfare. Okay. So in our example, assuming that the cost of producing guns is 10 pesos, and the cost of producing butter is 5 pesos, and the budget of the government is 100. So this, for discussion purposes, we only have two goods here to produce. Okay, so if the government spends all the budget amounting 100 to producing guns, how many guns can the government produce? Okay, so we can have 10, right? So 100 the budget and the cost per gun is 10. So 100 divided by 10, so we have 10. Okay? And then what if the government spends all the budget to butter? How many butter? The maximum number that the government can produce. The maximum number of butter. Yes. It's 20. Why? 100 divided by 5, that is 20. Okay? So here we can draw our PPF curve. Okay? The production possibility frontier. Okay? Now, there's the thing. If the government attempts to produce more guns, given with the limited budget, the government has to give up some butter. So let's say, for example, this is point A here, wherein everything spends on butter but 0 guns. Is it ideal for the economy or for the government to produce all butter but no guns? Probably not. Or is it ideal for the economy to produce all guns but not butter? It's an ideal, right? At some point, the economy or the government has to do something. Whether it will decrease its production of butter to have more guns. So let's take here point B. So for the government to produce more guns from 0 to point here, so let's say this is 3 for example, let's say this is 4. Okay? For the government to produce more guns from 0 to 4, it has to give up butter. Some butter. So this is what we call the trade-off and the opportunity cost. Okay? Did you get it? Does it make sense? For the government to produce more guns, it has to give up some butter. In the same way, if it wants to increase its production of guns, let's say point C, the government has to decrease its production of butter, given the limited budget. Now question, let's take point D here. So this D here. It is a combination of more butter and more guns. It is good, supposedly, right? Supposedly it's good that the government can produce more butter and more guns. However, it is unattainable because the production positive frontier, the curve is just here. It's unattainable. Okay? It's unattainable. Because you need more budget to produce more guns and to produce more butter. How about if I put here point E? Okay? Can the government afford? Absolutely, it can afford. However, the government is not maximizing its resources.